How's it going, folks? There's still a lot of discussion swirling around about the recent Super Smash Bros. Direct, and one of the most popular topics is in regards to the secret mode that was teased. So in this video, it's going to be all about what I think that mode could be. First off, let's talk about the icon on the main menu. Many Smash fans out there have already pointed this out, but if you pause on a particular moment in the Direct, you can make out what the letters are, spelling out the name of the mode. And it seems pretty clear that the title of this mode is most likely Spirits. So what could that mean? Well, let's look at some possible hints or clues of what this mode could be. One of the most peculiar parts of the Direct is when they show Rathalos on a long, flat stage. The stage itself is based on a map from Monster Hunter 4 called Ancestral Steppe. The boss battle we see on screen looks surprisingly complex, with a total of 5 different attacks from the footage we have. As I stated before, the stage itself is completely flat, which works very well for being used as an arena for a large boss encounter, but is this a stage for multiplayer? Well, it's not listed in the lineup of stages on their website, and it's never revealed as a multiplayer stage either. They don't even show the title of the stage on screen, which is what they do every time a new stage is being shown. I believe this was intentionally put in the Direct as one of our possible hints of what the secret mode could be. Notice that in every clip of the boss battle, we only ever see one character fighting Rathalos. Rathalos can also show up as an assist trophy, which is very odd because if he was a simple stage boss, then why would they need it as an assist trophy? You could just play on the Monster Hunter stage if you wanted that experience. I'm thinking this particular layout isn't a stage for multiplayer, and if there is a version of the stage for multiplayer, it'll probably be a little more interesting, having platforms and maybe some appearances from smaller Monster Hunter creatures. Our other possible hint is what we see during the boss battle with Dracula. It's on another flat layout, only ever seeing one character fighting Dracula. The stage layout during the confrontation is actually very different from the layout we see in the stage for multiplayer. First off, Dracula's throne is in the background, which isn't seen in the multiplayer footage. Second, this appears to be a walk-off stage because we never see an end to the hallway. The large steps on both the right and left sides of the stage are removed in this version, and there are more pillars leading off to each side. I guess it's possible that this could be a stage transformation, think along the lines of Castle Siege, but it would seem really odd for the stage to transform into a layout like this only for a single boss fight and that's it. This is very similar to the layout of the Monster Hunter stage we see with the Rathalos boss, and I don't think it's a coincidence. These are layouts designed as an arena for a boss encounter, and I don't know why they'd go out of their way to do that unless it had a higher purpose. They could have simply designed the boss to interact with the normal version of the stage, but the attacks Dracula is doing are similarly complex to Rathalos, and he even has a second form. Like Rathalos, this doesn't seem like a simple stage boss, and I think there's enough evidence here to support that theory. I also find it odd that when they first tease Dracula with his shadow on screen, there's still no throne in the background, clearly indicating that this is still the version of the stage we see in the multiplayer footage. We actually see this shadow flash onto the stage near the beginning of this stage's reveal, and I personally think it's just a neat effect, and that Dracula himself doesn't show up as a stage boss for this multiplayer version at all. I should point out, there is a sneaky bit where they splice together 2 clips to make it look like Simon and Richter are fighting Dracula at the same time. However, this is clearly not the case, because in the first shot when we see Simon throw his cross, there is no throne in the background. And yet in the next clip where Richter gets the final blow on Dracula, likely before he goes into his second form, the throne is clearly placed in the background. So, I think I've made it pretty clear that I think these boss battles are a part of the Spirits mode. But just what is that mode going to be? Is it going to be a story mode similar to Subspace, or something more along the lines of Adventure mode? And why is it called Spirits anyway? Well, the title alone makes me think it could be a story mode of sorts, with the main focus obviously being spirits. I imagine something in between both Adventure and Subspace, having a few cutscenes to push you forward, but nothing close to how many cutscenes Brawl had. As far as the spirit theme goes, there's been a bit of a trend so far in these new character reveals. Both Mario and Mega Man got killed in the Ridley trailer, Luigi got his soul snatched in the Simon Belmont trailer, and DDD, well, I'm not sure he got killed, but he does get clawed in the back of the head by King K. Rool, and we don't see the likes of DDD from that point on. Maybe I'm just reading a bit too much into it, but there seems to be a strong theme of villains conquering the heroes. It's hard to make out what the logo above the Spirits title is on the menu button, but there's been some speculation that it's some kind of ember. Well, I have a theory regarding this that might lend some more credibility to the idea, and also may just be another subtle clue, because we all know how Sakurai loves to build up reveals. When the Grim Reaper snatches Luigi's soul from his body, he then holds up a blue ember in his hand. I think it's safe to assume that this is Luigi's spirit. At the end of the trailer, we see Luigi's spirit begin to return to his lifeless husk, indicating that since Dracula is defeated, Luigi can now return to his body. So are the villains trying to steal the spirits of the heroes? And if so, what gave them this ability? I believe something along those lines is going to be the focus of the story in Spirits mode. There's been a big villain theme going on in general so far. We have Ridley, Dark Samus, and King K. Rool as playable characters now, with Rathalos and Dracula as dedicated boss fights, as well as the return of Wolf and an updated moveset for Ganondorf. There's plenty of villains they could use now to flesh out a story mode along those lines, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are more villains to come. Of course, this is all speculation, but I think whatever this mode is, it's going to be a big deal. So far, Ultimate has been all about fan service, and one of the most heavily requested features by far ever since Smash 4 released has been the return of a dedicated single-player mode. And there's not a sliver of doubt in my mind that Sakurai knows that and wants to deliver on it. So, assuming that this is a new single-player mode, what are my hopes for it? I'm hoping for something right in between Subspace from Brawl and Adventure mode from Melee. The thing I loved about Adventure mode is how it felt like a proper representation of what Smash Bros. Is, which is a crossover of many different iconic gaming series. With stage 1 being Mushroom Kingdom, then eventually leading to an escape sequence from Metroid, it's everything that I think a single player mode in Smash Bros. Should be. However, I did like seeing all of the characters interact with each other in the cutscenes from Subspace Emissary. It was the first time we had a story that allowed such a thing to happen. I do think the level design suffered heavily from repetition and just feeling overall very tedious and bland, but I will say the boss battles were a highlight, even if some of the boss designs felt a bit generic. If we could get a mode that has stages properly representing the multiple series Smash Bros. Has access to, with boss battles based on those series along the way, and maybe a couple cutscenes here and there, I believe this would be the ultimate single-player experience for the series. I don't want a generic grassland stage, I want green greens. I don't want a generic ruin stage, I want something from Zelda. I don't want a generic jungle stage, I want Congo jungle. Wouldn't it be awesome if there was a stage based on Luigi's Mansion that leads right into the fight with Dracula in the following stage? These are the kinds of things that are only possible with Smash Bros., and that's where I think Subspace failed. But if the boss battles we saw in the Direct are any indication, it seems like they are being more authentic this time around. I don't mind having original areas, bosses, or enemies scattered throughout, but I would want a large majority to be pulled from all the IP they have access to. It would feel like a wasted opportunity otherwise. They have so many assets they can already use to build their single-player stages from all of the multiplayer stages they have. I don't think it's too far-fetched to expect something along those lines. However, I do think it would be cool to have an original character for a possible main villain pulling the strings behind the scenes. I don't necessarily think it's needed, but it would be a good way to tie everything together. Anyway, those are all the ideas I have. Speculation is always exciting, and if this mode does turn out to be a single-player adventure, I will be incredibly hyped. It's hard to imagine Super Smash Bros. Ultimate having even more content than what has already been revealed, but there's still so much we don't know, which is insane when you think about it. Sakurai and his team are doing something really special here. It's clear they are trying as hard as they can to make this the best Smash Bros. Game ever, and when there's such obvious passion going into a game's creation, it only brings my excitement even higher. The wait for this game is killing me. I really wish I had a time machine to fast forward a few months. So what do you all think? Is this going to be a new story mode? Do you have high hopes? I'm trying to keep my expectations realistic, but this game has already highly exceeded my expectations. I was sold the moment they said every character is returning. Mix that with over 100 stages, tweaked mechanics, the new ways to play, the current newcomers we have, and other bits like the stage hazard toggle and stage morphing. You never could have convinced me that all of these things would be in this game a few months ago. Alright, that about does it. Thank you so much for watching. But before I go, I'd like to pay respects to a special someone we lost recently. Here's to you, Green Boy. You'll never be forgotten.
No, not Luigi. No. Liars, you're liars. I saw him die. You lie. He's dead. He's dead.